one of the people that produces it. And she comes in and she looks at me and goes, yeah, you're done drinking. And I went, absolutely not. I said, you are not my flight attendant, so you can leave now or go get me another beer. And then that woman got fired. Or give me the same respect, and this is what I said, and maybe this is a wild statement, give me the same amount of respect that you would expect every artist to get. If Whitney Houston walked in, no, that's a bad example. If J-Lo walked in, you would know it's J-Lo. You'd be like, oh, hey, how you doing? I don't need to see your land. Have a great show. Yeah. And by the way, 98% of the time I walk into a venue, that is how I am dealt with. And I will say this, I always try to treat people to make them laugh and giggle, but sometimes you get in life. And when I feel like I feel like it's my job as a human being, as a white male, to light you the up, to out you and show you what it looks like. Okay. And it does not come pretty.
No, it's not pretty.
So a few days ago, I was watching the most recent episode of Two Bears, One Cave, kind of hoping that they would bring up Joe Rogan's new comedy special and talk about it since, you know, back when they had their horrible performance at the roast of Tom Brady, whenever Joe Rogan talked about the events and how well everyone else did, he would always leave out Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. So naturally, I was curious to see what they had to say about the whole special. They didn't comment on it. However, as you know, because Bert Kreischer cannot go one day without talking about himself, it becomes inevitable that he eventually reveals some personal details about his life that makes him look really, really bad, because unlike Tom Segura, who actually learned from his previous mistakes, you know, the airport meltdown and him lashing out at his own fans, when it comes to Bert Kreischer, he still uses the podcast like his own therapy session and makes the whole conversation be about himself. However, this time was way worse because not only did his own best friend Tom and his wife both agree that he can have some insane overreactions and flip out on employees who don't recognize him or treat him like a superstar, which is absolutely insane. I feel like that's probably one of the worst things that I've heard about Bert Kreischer recently. But also the fact that they left that conversation in the podcast episode was really strange because, again, if you listen to those stories again, it definitely paints a horrible picture of Bert Kreischer. So let's get started.
Yeah, Leanne was pointing out times where I've lost, where I think the rules don't work the way I want them to work, and I will, just tell her to get up here, because I switch over. I go to Karen. I go full Karen.
Yeah,
but it's my Karen.
I know.
Like we were at the girls' fashion show for the school, and we were at the dad's and having a good time. We're having some beers, and one of the ladies in charge of the fashion show came in and was like, she takes it very serious. She's like, not one of the moms. She's one of the people that produces it. And she comes in and she looks at me and goes, yeah, you're done drinking. And I went, absolutely not. I said, you are not my flight attendant, so you can leave now or go get me another beer. And then that woman got fired.
You're talking about the fashion show.
Yeah, fashion show.
Well, we're talking about, he was saying the times, he was like, you know, when he switches.
I was talking about when we were in Vegas, and the lady was like, "Yeah, you can't sit here. You got to sit there."
Oh, it's not very pretty.
Well, he was saying when he goes from fun, jovial guy to like,
fuck yourself guy.
Yeah. And I said, "Oh, I've seen it. I've been there for it." And he goes, "Leanne has a list," and I go, "I'm sure it's longer than mine."
Yeah.
So he wanted to bring you up.
For my list?
Just give me a good one, and I'll tell Tom. I'll defend myself.
Anytime you're told no for access to an area. That's any time.
Oh, yeah, that's
Fill
right.
in the blank.
That's a big, that's called big time in people.
You can't walk here. I can't let you in here. Anybody in an arena who's been told who he is. And
hold on. Stop it. Hang on.
Oh, I remember.
Them up. Like in such a way that I go.
No. That's not fair.
That is fair.
That's not fair.
Actually, you can say, hey, this is my show without being like, go f*** yourself.
I don't say go yourself.
You come pretty close.
I don't say go yourself. No, hold on.
It's an embarrassing attitude.
It's not. Hold on, Tom.
Me.
This is a big mistake. I should have never brought her up here.
Now, we have been covering Bert Kreischer for a while now. In fact, a few months back, we did a deep dive on the whole Two Bears, One Cave catalog to try and pinpoint exactly when Tom Segura turned into a completely different person. And obviously, at the same time, we saw the same thing with Bert Kreischer. And although for him, it wasn't about buying expensive clothes and talking about it on the show, the thing that changed for him was how he went from being the victim in most of his stories to now being the aggressor or the bad guy. For example, back then, he would tell the story about him getting drugged by Ari Shaffir, or even before that, getting slapped by Jay Moore, and how he would steal his stories or his joke. However, for the past year, as he became more popular, we started hearing more stories about how difficult he was to deal with at times. For example, there was his massive meltdown at Mark Norman's bachelor party, and now we're finding out that he actually flips out and overreacts if an employee doesn't recognize him or treats him like a superstar. And by the way, back then when we talked about the whole Thai food incident and Bert Kreischer screaming at Joe List and Ari Shaffir, a lot of people actually defended Bert Kreischer, saying that it was pretty normal for friends or close friends to fight with each other and scream at each other like that, especially if they're drinking or hanging out. And I always disagreed with that take, especially because if you re-listen to that episode of Two Bears, One Cave with Ari Shaffir, it doesn't sound like things ended in a friendly way. It wasn't until this whole thing got brought up again, thanks to Ari Shaffir, that Bert Kreischer actually apologized or reached out to Joe List again, and they talked about being friends again. Now, to be fair, that situation alone is not that big of a deal. However, what is a big deal is how he avoided the conversation for about 6 months, and then when he finally got called out, he basically tried to lie, and the only reason we know exactly what happened was because Ari Shaffir was there to call out Bert Kreischer and confront him, which was pretty insane. Again, to actually try and lie in front of Ari Shaffir, who was there and saw what happened.
With the Thai food, and they got pizza, and I didn't melt down. And by the way, I was black.
Yeah, you did. You melted, bro.
I melted down. Okay, I definitely melted down.
Hold on.
I melted down. I self-corrected, or you know I self-corrected.
Okay. Hold on,
I love when he starts telling a lie and then realize, oh, someone knows the facts.
You know I
Fuck.
self-corrected.
He said I self-corrected.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
By self-corrected, that's weird.
Can I
corrected
Can I
you.
jump in
But
though?
yeah.
That I think because I know Bert, I think what part of what was upsetting to him is that when he ordered Thai food for everybody, he's like, I'm doing this so everybody has a good time and enjoys this Thai food.
And I don't allow room for other people. And I'm working on that.
This is a very self-aware Bert we're talking to right now.
Do you remember why you yelled at me, Bert? Do you remember exactly what it was?
No, what?
I believe I said, like I think I said like, I was okay with Thai food, or I was downstairs when you guys, and you said, don't you ever say you wanted Thai food.
Hey, I love that you accept me for my flaws.
And once again, this was basically proof that Bert Kreischer was actually willing to lie, or at the very least heavily modify a story just to try and defend himself, which is absolutely delusional because, for example, when it comes to Tom Segura, even though he did kind of go through something similar with his airport meltdown and him lashing out at his own fans, you could argue that it's kind of on brand with his personality, and he was being honest, even though the message and the content was complete trash. But the point is that it wasn't as shocking as when it happens to someone like Bert Kreischer, because for the past couple of years, he has been pushing this narrative that he's basically the best person to be around. And now this is when things get really, really interesting, because a few weeks ago, we actually went over Bert Kreischer's Fully Loaded Comedy Festival and the truth behind it. And I highly recommend you go watch the video. But the point was that Bert Kreischer's whole strategy and his plan for that festival, and I say quote unquote festival because it's not really a festival, his whole plan is to overpay and hire comedians just so that he can have him on stage, take photos, take videos, and use that as validation that he's accepted and has friends within the comedy community. But also, in my opinion, it's not really a comedy festival, and instead it's just a really long comedy show with a stacked lineup, and they all take turns performing on the same stage.
I understand everyone right now is hearing this and they're ready for me to spin out, and I am not the hero in the story. But I need you to stop and pause. And I need you to remember that you liked me originally. So let me be my hero for a second. Okay?
Are you going to give us a humility speech?
It's not a humility.
She knows you so well. It's
exhausting.
It's
exhausting. Okay, I'll tell you the very last show we did. So I did a 2-year arena run. Now there's every morning. I don't need to tell this to you, but I'm telling this to anyone listening. Every morning you pull into the arena, your team goes in and they have a meeting with the staff, with the security, with everyone that runs the venue.
Yep.
Here's how today is going to work. Everyone will have passes except for one guy. He will probably be shirtless in shorts and barefoot walking around. He is Bert. This is what he looks like. There's a picture of him everywhere. So when he goes to walk, he will not have a lanyard on. He will not be wearing a lanyard. So just giving you a heads up, when you see that guy, it is the artist. Now, let's just be fair. If you are working in an arena, you maybe want to know who the artist is that's performing in that arena that evening. So the very last show I did, I go walking in to go to the gym. I just had my workout clothes on and no shirt, and white dude maybe didn't get accepted into the police academy, lights me up. Hey, whoa, I need to see your pass. And I went, I'm actually good. I'm the artist. No. Everyone needs a pass. I go, that's when I switch.
That was a quick switch. That was a quick switch, though.
See the jowl shake that happened though?
I know. Yeah.
I said, no.
See the jowl shake?
Shut up, Leanne.
So, you know,
Just shut,
we're
Leanne.
in the next stratosphere, the jowl shake, and you're like, oh shit, back up.
You switched quick, though, on this guy.
I did.
Yeah. It didn't really get there.
And I wasn't done.
No, yeah.
And look, this is when things get even crazier because every single thing that Bert Kreischer just said is a perfect example of a Rogan-sphere comedian, or what makes a comic a Rogan-sphere comedian. Because a lot of people get mad thinking that whenever I refer to someone as a Rogan-sphere comic, it's basically an insult saying that they're only successful because they know Joe Rogan. And that's not the case. And in my opinion, what makes a comic officially a Rogan-sphere comedian is that once they become massively successful after meeting Joe Rogan, then they slowly start forgetting where that massive new audience came from, and they start kind of brainwashing themselves to think that, hey, even if it came from Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan is so massive, maybe that audience is the same audience that watches movies, that enjoys Hollywood, and that enjoys comics like Kevin Hart and Dave Chappelle. But then what ends up happening next, and it's really interesting, is that whenever a comic starts selling out arenas or big venues, then they start comparing themselves to other big artists who are also doing similar numbers or venues, and they start thinking that they're at the same level and start demanding the same amount of respect. And when it comes to Bert Kreischer, that is exactly what is going on right now.
Or give me the same respect, and this is what I said, and maybe this is a wild statement, give me the same amount of respect that you would expect every artist to get. If Whitney Houston walked in, no, that's a bad example. If J-Lo walked in, you would know it's J-Lo. You'd be like, oh, hey, how you doing? I don't need to see your lanyard. Have a great show.
Yeah.
And by the way, 98% of the time I walk into a venue, that is how I am dealt with. And I will say this, and I will make this racial. It has never been a black dude or a black woman that gives me shit. They always go, what's up? How you doing? As a matter of fact.
But also on top of that, he talks about how he wants to be treated like a massive superstar. But once again, the problem is that he's not a superstar. And if anything, he kind of tricked everyone into thinking that he's an arena act when he's really not. And he uses that for marketing and to try and satisfy his massive ego. And once again, even though technically he is doing arenas, usually when people refer to a comic as an arena act, they usually refer to someone that is selling so many tickets and is so popular that it doesn't make sense to do 10 different theater shows on a weekend in one city, and instead they do 2 different arena shows.
So Allie, she's open about it, so I'm not revealing. She doesn't like huge venues.
Really?
No. So like, you know, she could do like a bunch of arenas.
Mm-hmm.
When she did San Francisco,
Yeah.
it's her hometown, she, you know, they were like, hey, do the Oracle Arena. She was like, no. She did, you know, the Masonic. It's that awesome theater. She did 19 there.
19?
Yeah. Or like in LA.
Too many.
I know. She's like, no, she just parks. She's just like, I'll just take the family and hang out there for 3 weeks.
Jesus.
However, when it comes to Bert Kreischer, from what I remember, his entire tour was essentially 1 arena show per weekend. And also, he wasn't selling out every single show or adding more dates, meaning that in some cities, he could have easily done 4 or 5 different theater shows. And arguably, it would have been a way better product for the audience instead of just 1 massive arena show. However, the fact that Bert Kreischer actually believes that he should be treated with the same amount of respect as a huge artist is absolutely delusional. I mean, everyone should be treated with the same amount of respect, but he actually believes that he should be as recognizable as a massive superstar. For example, him complaining that the staff at the arena didn't recognize him is absolutely insane, because although, sure, I do get the point that they should know who is performing that night at the arena, it's actually pretty hard recognizing people in real life by just looking at a picture of them, on a phone or a poster or whatever. And also, using that logic, it would mean that if someone goes in there that looks similar to Bert Kreischer, they would have unlimited access to the arena. It doesn't make any sense.
That's one. Let's see, is there another one?
Oh my God.
Continue with the list.
When we did Something's Burning in Vegas, the sound guy.
What sound guy?
Yes.
The sound guy?
Yes.
When we shot in, what's his name's restaurant?
Roy Choi, Best Friends.
Okay.
Oh my God. I had to turn around. I was like,
Fun thing is that happens when
Hold on, hang on.
It's pretty fun.
No, hold on. That guy, hang on. That guy did not know who I was. But by the way, I'm paying him. If I'm paying you, treat me with a little bit of respect. That's all I ask. A little bit of respect. And I was cognizant of it when I was shooting my special. I had the same old black dude. Me and him, every time I walked in, he got briefed for how that was going to run. I was the only one without a lanyard, but he knew it. And every time we busted balls about how hot Florida was, where he grew up, we talked every time. Every time I've had an issue, it's been a white dude, an overweight, balding white dude who's lit me up. And I said this one time, I said, if that's how you treat me, imagine if Lil Baby comes in and what do you do to him and his guys? Because I already know how you feel. You got a power complex. I fight power with power for the powerless. I do it for the powerless.
You're so humble. You're humiliating.
Stop it. She's gaslighting me, and she gaslights me, Tom.
Yeah.
She gaslights me all the time.
I see it.
And then, it's. And now I can't wait to light someone up at Costco, and I will. Hold on.
I think this is called priming someone. I think this is actually, you're going to go in there. Yeah.
I can't.
And once again, the fact that they're just exposing Bert Kreischer like that on his own show is pretty wild, especially that story about him getting mad at the sound guy in Vegas, because keep in mind that back when that happened, when they recorded that episode, that was when they both went to Vegas for the Porosos events, and they had a couple of embarrassing appearances. And you could argue that back then, their ego was through the roof, because even though you do hear about it happening in Hollywood or on TV sets or on movie sets, when it comes to podcasting, I don't think that should ever happen, especially when recording a podcast for Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. That's absolutely insane. However, it does kind of make sense, because for the past 2 years, Bert Kreischer has been trying very hard to be part of Hollywood or get into Hollywood and failed miserably. And so now he created his own version of Hollywood by having his own cooking show, doing his own movie, doing the arena tour, and now it seems like he's also copying the attitude of being rude to employees, even though he's not actually in Hollywood. And by the way, isn't it funny that the same comics who complain about the haters and how much it affects them, they also behind the scenes are screaming at employees just because they don't recognize them. And look, I'm not saying that employees should be treated like babies, of course not, but I'm just saying that for someone who is best friends with Joe Rogan and came up in that comedy circle, taking advantage of that culture of helping each other out and being positive and all that stuff, it is a little weird that he would have that in him to disrespect an employee like that. And maybe there is a chance that he's always been like that, but he's just been hiding it just to be able to get ahead.
I walked up, we got close to it the other day. I walked up and the manager of Costco is back there, and to the Costco we're going to, and I was like, what's selling well? And he goes, vodkas. He goes, you know what's crazy? The Kirkland vodka sells really well. I said, really? He goes, yeah, the higher end ones don't. We got a new one. And I said, it's mine. And he went, yeah, huh? And I went, no, that's my vodka. And he goes, sure it is. And I go, no, I'll be here August 3rd for a bottle signing. And he went, huh? And it's moments like that where if I feel like he's going to tell me to go myself, that's when my skin.
I think you're looking for it though at that point, right?
No. What I'm trying to do was, because I know you got in trouble for just starting to film in there, and I was looking for access to film at that moment, and I knew I had to slow roll it. I wasn't going to go and hard sell him, so I was like kind of massage him, and then he was really fucking cool. We'll see him today.
Oh, okay.
He was really cool, and he was like,
I thought you were about to tell me I fucking ripped his.
He was really cool. He was like, oh wait, for real? I was like, yeah. I said, my name's Bert. I'm a comedian. I said, me and my best friend, disabled comedian, we launched this vodka. And he was like, wow. And he said, well, like, is it like a white label thing? And I went, no. It was really cool. And I said, man, I go, this is the only place you can get handles. And I showed him the bottle, and he was like, you designed all that? And I was like, yeah, it was a team. We worked. Yeah. It was a really great conversation. That's all I want out of everyone. So when I say when you order Starbucks, are you nice? I always try to treat people to make them laugh and giggle, but sometimes you get in life. And when I feel like I feel like it's my job as a human being, as a white male, to light you the up, to out you and show you what looks like. Okay. And it does not come pretty.
No, it's not pretty.
And now looking back, there is a chance that maybe Tom Segura was going through something similar back when he had his airport meltdown. However, he did realize that he was going down a bad path and then quickly readjusted, whereas Bert Kreischer is just instead doubling down and becoming worse every single time. And by the way, Bert Kreischer's take about how employees should respect him and know who he is and be friendly to him just because he's paying them is insane on so many levels, because once again, yes, everyone deserves to be respected and be treated with respect. However, when it comes to a work situation, a work relationship, you're not paying someone to be your best friend and to like you. You're paying for a service and for their time. However, that mentality actually exposes Bert Kreischer, and this is something that we talked about on that video about his Fully Loaded festival, because it goes back to him overpaying comedians to hang out with him, and is he also expecting a similar treatment from comedians because he is paying them very well. But yeah, this was definitely a nice little gift from Tom Segura. It almost seems like if he saw our last video and said, hey, here are more things why people should hate Bert Kreischer. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. Dislike if you didn't like the video. But that is all we have for today. See ya.